Right, now I believe that while we've been having a frustrating afternoon, my two co-workers have been reveling in spots, and so let's send you back across to Taylor. Sounds like maybe Hosana's come out of his bushes.
There he is. He's creeping past the car now. He's very sneaky. I don't know if he's seen the impala yet. I'm not sure. Look how close he's coming. Hosana, do you want to wear my snorkel? Are you coming here? Oh my goodness, sorry. I thought he was literally going to squeeze between the tree, but he's just gone down there now. There we go. Can you see it? Hosana, can you see the impala? I think he maybe has seen the impala. But he's still got quite a way to go, though. And I have a suspicion. Oh, you're walking so loudly, Hosana. I'm not going to move now. I'm just going to sit here and watch him for a little bit. There he goes in the golden light. And he's walking up. And we're going to just take the stance of, we can sort of see the impala. I don't want to go crashing after Hosana now because I'm going to scare the impala away. So what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, we are going to lose visual of this leopard. But I know that if I go driving and try to cross that drainage line, that impala is already interested and keeps looking our way as if it knows something is going on. What else have you seen now? I think it's going to be important for us to just take a back seat and just watch from a distance. Let's see, he's heading on that way. So it might not be the greatest view. We might lose visual of him completely, which is what's probably going to happen. But I think we'll just sit back here. Hopefully he has a chance this afternoon. There's not enough wind though. I kind of wish it was a little bit windier. Windier? Windier is a word, hey Craig? No. A little bit more windy. I don't know if windy... I think I've made windy. I don't even know if that's a word. I don't speak English, so most of the time I speak my own language. Yeah, he's definitely... I have to watch him on the monitor now because I actually can't see anything. Craig's lucky that he's got a sort of vantage point. He is looking across at the impala. And tail is working overtime. Look at it. Swish, swish, swish. He's plotting. He's probably running through a lot of things. He's probably saying the same thing. He's going, I don't have a lot of wind today. Okay. Gonna have to be extra quiet. At least I've got the tall grass. How am I going to do this? Am I going to go from shrub to shrub? Or am I just going to creep really, really, really low? But even when he walked on the animal pathway, he was crunching on all sorts of sticks and leaves, and he does know the impala's there. So we'll see. And the impala has relaxed now because it's starting to eat. I can only see the impala. There, it's in there. And I think it actually might be out of view. It's basically to the... Can I show you on the camera, Craig, where it's gone? You won't be able to see it. I can't even reach my short arms. What am I going to use to point it for you? I don't even have a stick. Basically, where those bush willows were, there's two holes. The hole, go to the left a bit more. There we go. It's just to the left of that one. If I show you on the monitor, he's here, he's standing there. So you can see those two gaps. He's behind that tree. Just feeding slowly. There might be another gap that it pops out onto. Big impala ram. All on his own. The other thing, though, is that I did hear some oxpeckers on that impala. And I don't know if they're still there. They've either flown away or they're sitting very quietly now just feeding on all the ticks and all sorts of things that are on that impala. But that's now an extra pair of eyes. And even though they're both benefiting from the symbiosis, well, there's another way, sorry, that they're benefiting is what I'm trying to say. It's not only is the impala being groomed by the oxpecker, and the oxpecker is gaining a meal, but also that impala's got an extra pair of eyes and ears on its back. And if those impala spot a predator, they're going to alarm, that sort of drilling noise they make, and they're going to fly up and away. And that impala then is going to look around. This is amazing. There you go, he looks like he's going to make his move. I think what's happened now is I think that impala has actually turned his backside towards Hosana. He's slinking slowly, and he will do that. He'll use every movement that the impala makes to his advantage. Because if he moves while the impala moves, the impala is going to hear his own body and feet moving around in the grass. But he's still quite far away. He's still got quite a distance to go before he can even try and get him. Now, most predators are parasites, and not kleptoparasites, but they're kleptoparasitism. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. And then, in the sense that they steal other animals' kills. It could be leopards taking other leopards' kills, or lions stealing leopards' kills, hyenas stealing leopards' kills. So there we go, aka they will climb up trees and steal other animals' food, even off of the ground. Impala was just turning slightly. He's actually coming back to that little gap now. I'm trying to think. In Hosana's, it's a bit deceiving from where we are. I think if you go into that place where I showed you, Craig, you've got it, those two trees. Yeah, the impala's there. You can just see it moving. There's its horns moving around. The impala's moving further away, though. I would have worked in Hosana's favor if he fed in this direction. Next, it's a tough one. Hosana's very far away, and it doesn't look like he's moving sort of fairly quickly in the direction of the impala. He's creeping. What we will do is, because a hunt can take quite a long time, and sometimes it happens fairly quickly, but I think Hosana's going to try and sneak up to this impala as close as he can. It seems as though Steve has got a much better view of that mystery boy.
Yes, we do. Sorry about the aerial there. Look how beautiful he is. He's just moving away from us into the setting sun. Terribly sorry about the aerial. I'm just going to turn the car slightly so we can get it out of shot. If I can find my gear, that is. There he goes. He's definitely... You happy there, Ferg? Definitely smelling something. Probably the movement of other leopards. Very unfortunate, but we're nearly right on our western boundary now. So it looks like he's going to head straight for it. Not that he cares for our boundaries, but obviously we'd like to spend some more time with this beautiful cat. Do you not agree, ladies and gentlemen? Let's try to get around here so we can get in front of him again for you. There he goes. Watch out, Fergie. Here comes the branch. Simple leaf, very silver in colour. It's just through there. I think he's going to come and say hello now. Okay, he's lying down, so all good. Okay, well, while we sit with this male leopard for a little bit longer, as he's licking himself, I think we might go back over to Taylor to see if Hosana is managing to get any closer to those impala.
Nope, we still don't have a view of impala. I'm just trying to help the other guides. They all said they're going to just stand by and wait, and hopefully Hosana is going to get closer into the sighting. But I don't know where he's gone. Hosana could have gone anywhere now. He could have slinked off to the right, he could have slinked off to the left, he could have come back along the drainage line, but the grass is exceptionally long, and it's very, very, very hard to see what's going on. So we are just going to have to play the patience game here and stare at bushes until we see some kind of movement. I don't even know if we will see any more movement. Because, I mean, ideally he's going to keep really low now. I doubt he's going to sit up unless the impala spots him or gets maybe gets a gut feeling that something is wrong, which animals do instinctively get that feeling, like you're being watched, just like you and I have that feeling and might run off anyways. When sometimes happens, that can also work into the leopard's favor. It could run in the wrong direction and run straight towards Hosana. The impala's just listening to all the birds that are chirping. Every now and then he puts his head down and he feeds. And this will be a really, really good meal. Might be able to hear the parrots flying over the top of us. Very chirpy. They're on their way to settle in for the evening. Come on, Hosana, where are you? I kind of don't want to see him. I want him to slink away, because I think if we start spotting him, then the impala's got a chance to spot him too. Right, well, we'll still be patient and hang tight. Off you go, back to Steve.
Thank you very much, Taylor. He has decided to lie down and have a little bit of a rest. What a beautiful male. We're finally getting some really nice facials of him. You can see the right-hand side's got those 3 spots with the one on the top. And then the other side is also 3 with the dot on top. And he's got a very nice double scar on his nose. And look at the bottom of his right eye. It's also got a nice little scar there. So very, very easy to identify with his size as well. Would make him very easy to identify amongst the other males. I mean, I initially confused him with Shadulu this morning because of those spots. But she's got 5 and 1 on top. But looking at the throat, you can see there's no real dewlap there. No real size in his neck at all. And a beautiful pink nose. You can actually see that scar across the eye is also joined under the eye in a sort of sweeping motion. It would have been most likely from a fight. Ah, beautiful. He's having a little cat nap. A bit of snakebite bush in the foreground. He kind of looked at me and said, "What kind of bush?" First Lady, he's probably about as far away from Hosana at the moment as he can be. Just listening on the radio, I can show you on the map here where we are, and then I can show you whereabouts I've been hearing where Taylor is. We're right over here, in the bottom corner over here, and they are here somewhere. I'm not sure where exactly, but here somewhere on Mumba Road. And we're right here in the bottom corner. I can actually see the boundary just here, only about 50 meters or so. So we are not very far away from him eluding us and going west into Simbambili and Arathusa. There's the sun setting. What a terrible job we have, Fergus, don't you think? We have a terrible job. Let's go back to the leopard. Emily Konu, I've never seen 2 leopards go for the same prey. I have watched video footage of it. I've never seen it live. But there is lots of evidence here, and a lot of the viewers have told me, because I've said things like that to them before, and they've seen more than one animal eating off of a carcass. I think Tingana and Hosana and maybe Tamba or someone else, I'm sure the viewers will correct me, eating off the same kill, which to me seems completely just never heard of before in my vocabulary, but or in my experience. But then I haven't worked for that extensive amount of time in the Sabi Sands, and in this area, the dynamics, and not just the dynamics, but the actual sightings that the guys managed to get here is just world class. Everywhere, ooh, I just swallowed a bug. Sorry about that. Everywhere else in the world that I've worked, not in the world, but in South Africa that I've worked, the leopards have never been that relaxed. And if you have managed to follow one for a while, the topography and the terrain has just limited it. So you haven't been able to follow them for too long. So my experience before coming to the Sabi Sands with following leopards and spending time with them is quite limited. But I'm sure Tristan has seen all sorts of weird and wonderful things in his many years here in the Sabi Sands. And Taylor herself has been here for quite some time. And the stories that I've heard around the campfire, the leopards here just do things that are not really written in books. So I'm seriously thinking of compiling some form of scientific journal on how the leopards of this sort of area are doing what they're doing and how they're doing it. Oh yes, Eloise, leopards will most certainly hunt monkeys. Monkeys are one of the most sort of, what's the right word, reliable indicators of a leopard, because they really are afraid of them. There's a documentary out there done by the Djubes of a leopard that actually teaches its daughter how to hunt monkeys, and the footage is unbelievable. I've never seen it live, but a colleague of mine was in the Sabi Sands a few years ago and took footage of a leopard going up a marula tree and actually physically smashing the monkey out of the top branches. It was incredible to see how fast it moved through the tree and the distance it covered. I mean, the monkeys are extremely fast up a tree, but when a leopard goes up the tree, it's almost unparalleled in the ability up there. So monkeys, when you hear them alarm calling, very reliable indicators, because leopards are terrified. Monkeys are terrified of leopards. Okay, so our flat cat is flat, still in our area though, which is great. Let's go back over to Taylor and see what the little chief is up to.
Steve, at least you can see your leopard. We can't see anything. We're looking at bushes at the moment. I still don't know where Tingana, Hosana is. He's somewhere in there. And Impala is moving around. You can see how the hornbills are singing their song for the last time this evening. And we're still in exactly the same spot. Just waiting patiently. I mean, Hosana could be right underneath that leopard. That's where we last had him. Behind the bush willows, behind the quarries. But I don't know where he is now. Somewhere in there. The Impala's alert now. Looking. Brittany, no, I can't say that I've ever wanted to interfere at all. It's never ever crossed my mind, because I know how important it is to not do something like that. And I'm not talking about turning a tortoise back over or picking up an African land snail off the road because they're going to get driven over by cars. I'm talking about stopping hyenas coming. There we go, the Impala's alarming. I think he knows something is up. Oh, I think there might be another Impala that we can't see on the right. Okay. We'll see what's up now. I think maybe Hosana's been spotted, so we shall wait a little bit longer and then try and go around. But we do have a school drive joining us this afternoon, so let's go across to Steve so he can welcome them.
Good afternoon and welcome to you. You are fantastically welcome on this afternoon's Game Drive Safari Pizza Lowerhead School from the USA. Welcome, my name is Steve Falconbridge and I'm joined by Ferg on camera, and we are in Djuma in the Sabi Sands in a wonderful afternoon. The sun is setting and we have got a leopard lying down in the grass. Let's go to him, Fergs. How marvelous is that? It is a young male leopard that we only found last night for the first time. We have not seen him before, and we've been with him for the better part of the last hour and a half. You might wonder why I was wearing some goggles on my neck, and that is because we are marketing our Dive Live segment, which is going live directly after our safari this afternoon, where our CEO and director is going to be diving live at Dive Live for the first time internationally for you to see and to enjoy. So make sure you check that out. But here we are with a young male leopard who's lying very flat. We spent some time with him earlier where he stalked and nearly killed a baby warthog. It was absolutely marvelous to see, but unfortunately, or fortunately for the young warthog, it missed. And Naga, you'd like to know what type of endangered species? Well, leopards are actually regarded as vulnerable on the ICU list, as well as lions. We have both of them here. Cheetah as well as wild dog. Wild dog and cheetah are probably the most endangered carnivores on the African continent. There's also a number of birds, including the ground hornbill. And I'm trying to think what else there might be. But the leopard is not endangered, but it is regarded as vulnerable. And then also further up in Africa, the African elephant is regarded as vulnerable. And down here in South Africa, obviously, the white rhino is on the vulnerable endangered list. Rajvi, a very good question for the wildlife side of things. What is the major reason why animals become endangered? And I will tell you categorically, it's got to do with humans and our encroachment on the animal's habitat. So we are growing food, we are growing agriculture, we are plowing for cows and fields and development and rural development and roads and dams, and all of this is leading to the loss of habitat. And what animals need to survive is not just food, but the habitat in which to live. Because what you see there, okay, we're going to go from the ground up. The leopard is lying on the soil. The soil is providing the grass with the nutrients that it needs to provide the food that the herbivore animals need to feed on. Lots and lots of herbivore animals, such as buffalo and zebra and wildebeest and impala. And then those animals, including the warthog, provide the meat which the leopards and the lions need to survive. So if you take away the grass, then you lose the animals, and then you lose the predators, and the whole system collapses. So from me on this side, we're going to quickly go over to my friend Tristan Dix, who would also like to say good evening.
Indeed we would, Steve. We are sitting at one of the more beautiful spots that we have here in South Africa. We're at a massive dam, and there's a beautiful sunrise kind of coming down from that side. And you can see a few little clouds and some hippos in the water. Now, as Steve mentioned, my name is Tristan. On camera I have got VM the wildebeest. And so we are sitting with some of our noisiest animals at the moment. You've been with Steve and some of the quietest animals we have here, but we have some of our noisiest ones, and they're about to make a lot of noise because this time of the day is when they start to wake up. And so you can see lots of hippos that are all over the place, and they are starting to wake up because now is when they decide to go and feed. And so what they're going to do is they're going to stand up and they're going to start walking out shortly to go and try and find grass. Hippos are not animals that eat meat like the leopard does, and so they have to wait until it gets a little bit cooler so that they can come out and start feeding off the grass in this area. So, Shan, you asking about birds and what are some of the birds in the area? Well, we've got lots of birds right around us, thankfully. Now, just in front of me over here, it's difficult to see it, but it's walking around in this little shallow section, is a little sandpiper. There you go, a little marsh sandpiper that's moving around and kind of looking for little insects. So they're very common on the shores of our water points. You find them here looking around for all kinds of little bits of food that they will dig their heads into. And then we've got a few geese that are around, which are very common in this area, and they are called Egyptian geese. And you find them everywhere. Wherever there is water, there will be Egyptian geese, and they will sit on the edges of the water like this and make a lot of noise. They honk and hiss and make all kinds of sound and make a lot of noise. Now, before we carry on with our birds, there's two baby hippos that have just poked their heads out and are walking on the side. And look how cute they are. That's as cute as they get. So you can see they're very chubby and very fat, but they are super, super cute little things. And it's, I think, almost time for playtime. You're going to see the two of them coming out, and they might sort of sniff each other and open their mouths and kind of have a little play fight. There we go. You see that? Isn't that cute? They are super, super fat, these little guys, and that's all to try and protect them from the cold water, so they get a bit of insulation, almost like a whale with blubber. And you see they bite each other, and these are all little games that they're going to play. And there's one that is really, really small that is kind of sitting there. Good. Well, while our little babies have a bit of a reunion, have a bit of playtime, let's send you across to my friend Taylor with another epic sighting of a spotted cat.
Hello everybody, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Craig, and look, there's a leopard. How cool is this? Now this is a young male leopard. His name is Hosana, and unfortunately he was trying to catch himself some dinner, but that plan was foiled because the impala, which is a type of antelope we get here, which there are plenty of, it's the most common antelope in Africa, they spotted him. Now, they've got exceptionally good eyesight, very good hearing, and a keen sense of smell. But Hosana tried his absolute best. And I didn't even realize that there were two impala in the sighting. I thought there was just one that he was stalking, but it was the second one we couldn't see that spotted him and started snorting and alarming at him. Now, he's a very young boy, this leopard. He's just over 2 years old, so he's still got lots of time to go. Are you going to climb up the tree? It looked like he wanted to. Or maybe he was just scent marking. So they can live for a relatively long time, kind of like a big dog. So a male leopard like this, they don't live as long as the girls, but I reckon he could live up to about 13 years old. 14 years old, that'd be a very old leopard, but maybe more around 12. Oh, he's just sitting. I got excited. I thought he was going to jump up the marula tree. Not today. He was just marking his territory up against that tree. Now, Tristan is going to be very happy to know that this leopard is on his way down Cheetah Cut Line. And Tristan is not far. He is at the dam at Chitwa. Let's see. Hopefully he doesn't go into Torchwood, because if he carries on going down this road just a couple of 100 meters, I know we will make his day, as he hasn't seen a leopard today. Now, the reason how I know that this is a male leopard, and as he slinks into the grass, is, well, you can look for his manly bits underneath his tail. That's a way that you can tell. And then normally the males are much bigger than the girls, and as they get older they get this very saggy skin underneath his neck, which we call a dewlap. Oh no, he's going into Torchwood now. That's no good. The property that he's he's not driving, I'm driving. The property that he's walking into is an area that we aren't allowed to go driving in, but that animals can go wherever they want, which is quite nice. So there's no fences, there's no nothing. Craig, let me go forward so we can get one more decent view of him. We're going to have to say goodbye to him in a minute. Oh, I was hoping for Tristan. He'd come out and show himself. Tristan also loves Hosana. We've been watching him since he was a baby. There he goes. Let me go forward. Next one, Craig. Sorry. He's too quick for me this afternoon. You'll see, we should see him moving around in those trees somewhere. We're just waiting to see. He's going out. Yeah, he's just behind those trees. I'm trying to see if I can see him. He's walking straight back. There we go. If you go zoom right in, Craig, you should be able to see him slinking off. No, where did he go now? He's just behind those trees, moving back and away. Amazing how quickly a leopard can disappear, though, don't you think? He's on the hunt, though, so he doesn't want to be seen. Let me go forward and see if we can get one more view. Can you see him there? If I go to the next tree, let's quickly see. I just want to show you how camouflaged these cats really are. Oh, I don't know if we're going to see him again. Oh, no. Okay, it seems as though Hosana's disappeared for the moment. We'll see if we can try and find him again. Off we go to Steve, who is still with his leopard.
Yes, here we have got our male leopard, and he is moving west towards our boundary, unfortunately. If he does cross that, just like Taylor, we won't be able to follow. Sorry about the back of my vehicle there. We are on a game viewer in the middle of the bush, following this leopard, and he is going to cross our boundary road in the next 30 seconds to a minute, which is very unfortunate, but we will do what we can. Catch up with him till that point. Hold on there, Ferg. We just need to go around these bushes really quickly. Hold on. Stations, this young male is about to cross onto Triple M. Mrs. White, why do these animals not attack humans? Well, essentially, they become quite habituated, sorry, Ferg, to the vehicle. Oh, sorry. And they don't actually see us as human in the car. If we were on foot, though, it would be a different story. I'm not saying he's going to attack us, but what's going to happen, essentially, see, here is one of our management roads. This is our boundary. This is Djuma on the right and Triple or Arethusa on the left, another private game reserve within the Sabi sands. So you see how he looks at us there? He just sees us as a big vehicle, a big box. He's quite a young male. He's used to cars as long as you give him space. But if I had to hound him and chase him and push the car really, really close to him, then he would react negatively. And that negative behavior could be to run away or could be to attack me in the car. So you've got to respect these animals. They are wild animals. They are not tame in any way. But on foot, if I happen to see this leopard, he would probably run away long before I even saw him. Often what you see is just the little flitter of them in the long grass as they disappear. Isn't this marvelous? Just going to tell the other vehicles on the radio so that they can come if they want to. Stations, this young Madora Ingwe is mobile north on Triple M. I know there was a vehicle standing by on the road just a moment ago to see if they could see him, but they weren't allowed into our side, just like we are not allowed to go into their side. But isn't this marvelous, ladies and gentlemen? Walking along, boys and girls, walking along one of the management roads. Let's have a look at him. Here we go. I'm going to maybe try to get in front of him, Ferg. How does that sound? Just going to talk on the radio again. Standing by. Triple M boundary. He's mobile north in the road currently. 300 meters north of the southern boundary. There he's going to go. We have thwarted it. That is okay. Let's get the last look as he disappears into Arethusa. How marvelous is that? There he goes. Into the setting sun. The golden rays of the African evening descending on South Africa. Must be quite confusing for some of you who've just woken up and are getting the morning rays. We are getting the setting rays. Isn't that a glorious picture? Okay, well, we're going to lose sight of this male leopard here. We're going to go back over to Tristan, who's at Chitwa Dam, and let's see what interesting information he has for you.
Well, what an exciting kind of thing to see. Two different leopards is absolutely amazing. And we're still sitting with our hippos. Our little babies have run back into the water. They've decided that we weren't brave enough to stay out for a long period of time. And so they've run back in to go and get some safety close to mom. So everybody is just sitting tight for now. They'll eventually start coming out again. They're waiting for it to get a little darker. Now, did you hear? So now that is the noise hippos make when they're talking to each other. That's how they make a sound, and they'll kind of communicate between each other to know what's going on. So Shan, they protect themselves from predators in two ways. One is water. So water protects them from things like lion, leopard, hyenas, and wild dogs, those kind of things. And you'll have a situation where they'll kind of just dive into the water if those animals come along. In terms of crocodiles, which you do get here, and in fact there are two very big crocodiles in this particular waterhole. And so they'll also use their teeth to try then chase them away. They have big kind of mouths, and they'll try and sort of fight them off using those big mouths and teeth. Now, Abdul Rahman, you inquiring about animals that are injured. So what would happen if an animal was injured? Would we help them? Well, if it's an injured animal that's been caused by a natural situation, so if something like, let's say, two elephants have fought together and one has killed the other one, then, or one has injured the other one, then no, we will not help that animal, because that's nature. We were always just here to witness what's going on, and we try and kind of stay out of those things as much as possible, because if that animal dies, it forms a whole ecosystem for a lot of other animals that might have been reliant and needed that meat at some point. And so if you change that, then maybe another animal dies because it wasn't able to actually get to that carcass itself. So it's important that we don't interfere. But if it's something to do with man, so if somebody leaves a piece of wire out and it gets caught on an animal's foot, then we definitely will try and help them. We have vets and those kind of things that come out, and they'll dart that animal and try and fix it and make sure that it's nice and safe. So it just depends on what actually has happened to the animal and what's hurt it. That will tell us what we need to do. Now, there's a bird called a darter. Now, darters get their name from the way that they will dive down in water and they dart forward to try and get fish. They're little fish hunters, and so what you find is they generally swim around this area, and as the kind of fish comes past, then they dart in and grab it, and then they eat it, and then they'll kind of come and sit on these branches to try and sort of dry out. Now, what you'll notice with this bird is that it's got a very long, broad tail. Now, that will help when it's underwater. It helps with them being able to kind of push themselves, and it almost acts like, I don't know if you've ever put flippers on or fins on and you've swam with those. It's much easier than if you don't have them. So that will help that bird underwater to propel itself and to be able to push forward and chase all kinds of things. Now look, there's a little baby hippo there, and it's chasing some birds. So there's one of our little babies. Hello, little one. And you see it's chasing the birds around. So there's one of the birds under the tree. So, Zachary, an average weight of a full-grown male hippo is going to be about 5,000 pounds. So 5 to 5,500 pounds for a really big hippo, and that's absolutely massive. That's almost the weight of most cars. So it gives you an idea of really how big hippos can be. And that's also why they don't have to worry about predators too much, because predators are animals or things that are much smaller than what hippos are, and so it would take a lot of effort for a predator to be able to grab the hippos. But you can see they're still having a really good game at the moment and are playing and having lots and lots of fun as they kind of wait for the sun to set so that they can start moving and start heading out. But it is starting to get quite dark now, so I don't think they'll be out or be in the water for too much longer. I'm pretty sure they'll start to kind of find their way to the edge to go and find some grass and some food. Now, I think what we're going to do is maybe we're going to try and see if we can find you a crocodile quickly. There was a little baby crocodile here. In fact, there it is right there. Can you see it? I think it's a crocodile, Wiem. Is that a crocodile there, the little baby one? Right there. It looks like the little baby crocodile. Yes, there's our little baby crocodile. So this is a little crocodile that we call Snappy, and it's very, very small. It's still tiny. It was born in sort of middle of last year, and it's been hanging around in this area, and it stays very, very close to the edge and the shallows, because otherwise it's going to get hunted by big fish, other crocodiles, and even something like a fish eagle might go after it. You'll also find leopards can be quite dangerous to a little crocodile like this, and big birds like herons, and so it sits close to the edge where it's got some places that it can dive into deeper water, but that it doesn't go into too deep water that it gets caught by a fish. But isn't it cute? There's a tiny little crocodile. Now that crocodile, in terms of its total length, is probably no longer than my arm. In fact, I don't even think it's as long as my arm, to give you an idea of how big it is. It's very, very small and still a little baby, but it will be hunting all kinds of little things in this area. So it's going to be going after little fish and insects, frogs, those kind of things. It will have to grow a long, long time before it will be able to catch things like impalas and wildebeest and zebra. Oh no, Mrs. Paul, you sound like you live in a place where I don't think I would be able to survive, because you say that you live somewhere where it's minus 30 degrees, and I hope that's Fahrenheit, because if it's Celsius, I don't think I would ever be able to visit there. But our winters here are actually very pleasant. We're very, very, very lucky about where we live. We have a very temperate winter, which means that we have a winter that is nice and warm. So normally the temperatures in Fahrenheit will be in the sort of 60s to 70s range, and that's normally what we have in winter. And it's a dry winter, so we don't get snow, we don't get rain, and it's normally very, very bright sunny skies, and it gets quite cold at night. It can drop in the nighttime to around sort of 0 degrees Celsius, which is probably is close to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere there. And that's about kind of as low as it gets for us. So it doesn't get too bad, and we're fairly lucky that it's not too bad and that we can carry on doing our safaris. And that's one of the nice things about South Africa, is that you can do safaris all year round, because it doesn't actually ever get cold enough to keep us indoors, and we're very lucky, like I say, that we don't have snow. It's also why we have animals that can survive, like the hippos, because otherwise it would be very difficult. Now, it seems as though the leopard luck continues for my friends, and it sounds like Taylor might have found another leopard to show you.
Well, we didn't find this one. This one was found for us, and we just came to say hello to him. But this is Tingana. This is an old boy. Looks like him from here. We actually just parked a little bit away, and you may see some flashes of light every now and then. There's some other people on safari who are taking photos of this leopard. There you go. You can just see the vehicle. You can see I wonder who's tracking with Rexon today. You can see the tracker's feet. And there was also a hyena that was running around, which was quite cool. Oh, there's the hyena, and they're eating on an elephant carcass. Oh. Look at all the saliva on that hyena's mouth. So it's been feeding on an elephant carcass, and this hyena's very nervous. Not so nervous of Tingana. I don't think Tingana wants to fight. He's an old boy now. He's done fighting. He's put his boxing gloves away. He just wants to eat in peace. I just want to help Tristan quickly. Tristan, if you can copy me at Drakensberg South Junction with Cheetah Cut Line, and then was going southeast. So I think he's going to... If he doesn't see anything along the way, he's probably going to pop back up on Gary Main. Oh, look at this leopard. He's going up the tree now. What did he do? I don't know. He's very nervous, this leopard. He tried to jump up the tree, and then he came down again. And now he's walking away. He's also going towards the boundary. I hope he doesn't disappear. I don't know what's going on. I can hear there might be some more hyenas, but they don't look like they're fighting with one another. It's like they're all looking out for other things that could be coming here. Maybe there's some lions on their way. I don't know. But he's going to walk out of the property now. Let's go forward. Let's try and go around quickly so we can have a view of him before he disappears. And then, just going to concentrate. Oh, the elephant stinks. Hold on, Craig. We're going to jump a fire break very quickly. Are you okay there, Craig? Enjoying the smell? Craig's going, bah, covering his face. It's very stinky. Let's quickly go around. Hold on tight. Otherwise, he's also going to cross into an area we can't walk. Leopards are driving and I'm walking. Now, Zachary, no, I'm not going snorkeling. You won't believe it, but there's a new show starting called Dive Live, where it's like a safari, but underwater. I'm trying to see where he's gone. I can see Tax or Rexon is here. I'm just trying to see if it is. He's already crossed, maybe. I can't see him, and my spotlight is... I don't even know where my spotlight is. It's under the first aid kit. Can you see him, Craig? That grass is so tall and so dark now. Even if we do use the spotlight, it's still going to be difficult to try. Let's have a quick look here. He's definitely in here somewhere. Okay, I see Tax is shining his spotlight. I think he knows where he is. Appeared in the grass. We do that. Off you go. Back to Steve.
Hello, everybody. Well, Taylor might look like she's going snorkeling, but I am, in fact, snorkeling right now in preparation for our dive live that starts only shortly after this show. I'm only joking. I'm not actually snorkeling, but what I am doing is I'm sitting at a mud wallow, which is very, very important for wildlife conservation. These patches of water are very, very important out here for frogs, for a lot of animals that like to mud wallow. The temperatures out here can get very, very hot. And without being able to mud wallow, it's very difficult for animals to actually sustain themselves. Another purpose for the mud is not only to cool them, but also to cover the animals to prevent the ticks that are biting them and sucking their blood. It suffocates them, allows them to fall off. And at the same time, it also allows animals to come and have a drink. Okay, well, let's quickly go back to Taylor.
We're going to have the last look of this leopard now. You can see he's just crossing in front of me. I've got my spotlight on him and my snorkel. There we go. There he goes. I'm going to let the other guys light him up. Look at that. He's a big boy in comparison to Hosana now. The leopard we saw first is the son of this leopard. But now Dad is very old, and like I said, he's in retirement now. And he's probably going to go... He's also hungry. He looks like he needs something to eat. Also going to look for something to eat at some point. Oh, that's so cool. But off he goes. Walking down the road. Look at those big feet. Look at that shadow. It's a scary shadow, hey? Now it looks like he's going to cross off of the main road and down an animal pathway where he'll have a very good chance of finding his next meal. Good luck, Tingana. Awesome. One last view. So there we go. How's that? You got to see 3 different leopards today. And I'll tell you a bit more about the snorkeling story, or perhaps Steve is going to fill you in on that. And speaking of Steve, let's go back to him, and I hope he doesn't jump in that pan.
How fantastic it is you boys and girls got to see 3 leopards in one short afternoon's activity. I think that is fantastic. So where I'm sitting is at a mud wallow, and if I grab some of it, it is made up of a lot of mud. You probably can't see it very clearly there. There's sand and clay particles in here which have come down the landscape and have settled into these low-lying areas. And what would have happened initially, something like an elephant would have done a little digging and then moved off the mud, and then a warthog would have rubbed himself in it and moved off, and then a buffalo, and then a rhino, and slowly but surely these things become very large dams, which are very, very important for the survival of animals out here. But I would not be able to drink this. This would make me quite ill because my stomach is not designed for it. But the animals out here, they've lived with this their entire life. They don't know what filtered water is, so they are very strong when it comes to those sort of things. But water, boys and girls, is the currency of life. And if you want to have wildlife in an area, part of the habitat requirement is water. So Noah, you want to know where hippos sleep, and they sleep inside the water most of the time. But if the water gets quite cool, they can often sleep on the side of the bank. And what I've also seen before, because hippos go out, they can go up to 30, 40 miles at night to go and feed. That's in extreme conditions. And then they can get quite tired on their way back, and they'll often find a nice sandy spot to just lie down and just relax for a couple of hours before getting up and walking all the way back to the water. So without water, you won't have hippos. Without water, there will be no buffalo, no elephant, no crocodiles, of course. There'll be no fish, there'll be no frogs. and all the other animals that live in the savanna biome need water on a daily basis to survive. So water, the currency of life, a small little pool that we have here, is an ecosystem on its own. German treat, are hippos and birds friends? Well, they don't annoy each other. Quite often you'll find birds sitting on the back of hippos, and what happens is they're out in the middle of the dam where they can't normally stand or sit, and they sit on the hippo like it's a big boulder or a log, and they'll pluck any insects from the water that are around. Other birds, such as oxpeckers, which actually live or spend a lot of time on the back of animals, pluck off the ticks from most of your animals, but what they do is they're actually feeding on blood. How revolting is that, eh? They feed on blood like vampires. And so they will actually sit on the back of a hippo's back and pluck out the blood, because the hippo's got they get lots of injuries on their back. Animals attack them, they fight, they bleed a lot. It's just part and parcel of being a hippo. And you'll have oxpeckers quite often on the back of hippo drinking their blood. Isn't that quite revolting? But it is what they do. And is how oxpeckers get by. They don't need to come and drink because they can drink blood. So there's an animal that can get by without water if they get enough blood in their diet. Okay, so while I creep around and get away from here as it's getting dark and scary behind me, I'm going to go back over to Tristan Dix and see what update he has for you.
Well, we are out with our spotlight and we are trying to find any of the nocturnal creatures that move around in this area. So we left our hippos so that they could get out of the water and go and do their thing without us disturbing them. And now we're trying to see if we can maybe find you some owls or some genets or civets or any of those kind of things that come out in the night. So now is a good time for all of them, and we're using our spotlight basically to look for any signs of eyes. So we're trying to see if there's some eyes that shine back at us, and if they do, then we know that there is an animal there and we can try and go and see it. So that's the kind of plan for now. So far though, we have struggled a little bit, but while I do that, let's send you back across to Taylor, who's sitting at a dead elephant.
It has been rotting away and being eaten by hyenas, being eaten by all sorts of things. I'm squashing the flies that are trying to go in my mouth. Here comes another hyena. No, that one seems more excited about saying hello. Look how excited it is. Very excited, this hyena. Now, Noah, you're quite right. Hyenas are very social animals. Look, see, they're saying hello to one another. Can you hear those sounds? And I know that you were confused by why that hyena was on its own. You're wondering where its friends were. So they do live in clans. They definitely do. However, you don't always see hyenas in big groups. You actually often see hyenas on their own, more so than in clans. That's normally what we say to describe a group of hyenas, a clan of hyenas. So when you go to a den site, then you can see lots of hyenas, or when you see a kill like this, then you'll normally see many coming to feed, but there's not much left on this elephant. What are you digging for, hyena? Look at him, using his, maybe there's something there, something that's left. But hyenas have got very, very strong stomach acid, so they can eat the skin, they can eat the bones of the animals too. Now, you may have noticed that we are in black and white all of a sudden. We've got a very, very special light on these hyenas so that they can't see the light and it doesn't disturb them. And Craig, can we show them how dark it is without the infrared on? Look at this. That's what I can see. You can barely see anything. You can just see them moving around. So it's quite cool. So now we're not disturbing the animals at all with a spotlight, but you can spotlight hyenas, you can spotlight leopards and lions and all the animals that come out at night. They don't mind the light so much. It's just we don't shine on the impalas, we wouldn't shine on an elephant or those animals that are out during the day. Now, we obviously had a leopard and a hyena together. And like I said to you, that was an old man. He wasn't too bothered by the hyenas, and I think the hyenas weren't too bothered by him because he wasn't snarling at them or growling. So Shan, who would win in a fight? I think it depends on a number of different things there. So hyenas if they are in a bit of trouble, will make a call and call other hyenas in to try and get some help if they need it. So if one leopard versus many hyenas, hyenas are going to win. They're going to chase it away. But leopards can climb trees. Hyenas can't climb trees, so they can get away quite easily. One-on-one, leopards can be quite aggressive, and I think that they would give the hyena a run for its money, especially a big male leopard like we just saw. But he's old now, so like I said, he doesn't really want to fight anymore. I don't know what he's digging for. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my armbands. They're too tight on my arms. Digging right underneath that bone. What's there? I wonder. No. Hyenas eat lots and lots of different things, Sahaj breed, so they can hunt very well for themselves. So they'll catch impala, they'll hunt kudu, warthogs, anything. But they are also specialist scavengers. So what that means is that they are very, very good at feeding on rotten carcasses. Sometimes they will chase leopards away to try and get their food. If there's one lion by itself, they'll also try and take lion's food. They often chase away cheetahs, wild dogs, to get their meals. So a carcass like this, sorry, that's me. I've got all sorts of beetles and things crawling around me, but I can't see if they're ones that are going to sting me. So I was just swiping them away. Now, they're going to feed on this rotting elephant. This is no problem for them. They'll find this delicious, even though you and I go, ugh, sus, who'd want to eat that? These hyenas will be so excited. Now, I don't know what this hyena is trying to get. And speaking of insects, and the ones that are crawling on my legs, the ones that I can't see very well because it's so dark. Nimiprit, I'm not sure what diseases some of the insects will carry out here. Some of them, tick bite fever from the ticks, will makes you very unwell. You get a headache, you become nauseous, you become very tired. That's one of them. But we don't have to worry too much about, well, you do. If you're working in the bush like me that exposed to ticks all the time, then yes, then you do definitely have to worry about them. Otherwise, there aren't too many others, but a lot of these insects have got venom. Not even just the insects, or for instance, like I say, a scorpion. If a scorpion stings you, it's got a venom. Snakes have got venom, so when they bite you, or when a scorpion stings you, you can get very sick. And like I said, with the lights on me, they're all just going to fly into my face now. And I'm going to try and sit like this so I can swat them away, because they just go into my eyes and ears. And I know that they've been sitting on this rotten elephant carcass. It's quite terrible. Okay, well, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I was going to tell you about some poisonous bugs, but we can get back to that. Or you can ask Steve what are some of his favorite poisonous bugs. Let's go back onto his car.
My favorite poisonous bugs, holy whack, what are my favorite poisonous bugs? I don't really like poisonous bugs, to be honest, because I don't want to touch them or eat them. Bugs in general are I do like them, but the ones that hurt you, I'm not a big fan of. So if we had to talk about venomous bugs, I like venomous, because venom is if you inject something into your veins, it can kill you, whereas poison is something that if you ingest, it can kill you. So I like spiders and scorpions, which majority of them are venomous and can give you quite a nasty bite or sting. I quite enjoy scorpions. I am in fact a Scorpio, so it fits quite nicely with my Chinese astrological sign. And it's actually a good time of year for scorpions to be moving around. They do feed primarily on bugs, on insects as they move around, and one of them is a very poisonous one called a millipede, which has got, like it says, 1,000 legs, but it's only about 100 legs, and they move around feeding on organic material, which they then deposit into soil, which is fantastic. And the scorpions feed quite heavily on those poisonous insects. So what's quite interesting is the scorpions are able to eat the poisonous insect, and then they're also able to inject a venomous sting into something that they want to kill. So I find scorpions incredible because they've been around for so long, and they have done so much, and they haven't needed to evolve for the longest of times. So I haven't seen a scorpion. We're looking for chameleons, but while we do that, let's go over to Taylor and see what she's doing on her way back.
The hyenas are still here. They're still eating, moving around. That's the big skull. That's the head of the elephant. That big round thing there. You can even see some of the teeth. They're trying to get all the last bits and pieces of that carcass. It's almost finished. Now, this is an old wives' tale, Sonny. Everybody seems to think that all the predators only hunt at night time, but that's not true. Hyenas can hunt any time of the day when they want. Same with lions, same with leopards. They are specialist hunters, and they're able to adapt whenever they can, which is pretty cool, hey? So hyenas will scavenge quite a bit. It does make up a large amount of their food when there is food available for them to steal, or if someone has just abandoned a carcass. Hey, they're saying hello to one another. That's how hyenas shake hands, or wave at one another, or give a hug. I'm glad we don't do that. Oh, they're getting very excited. But because they're eating around this carcass, they have to be very careful, because it could be a pride of lions, and they can come charging in, and then these hyenas are going to have to run away, or another clan of hyenas could come through and cause some problems for them. Maybe they're not in the same clan, and they don't like other hyenas that they don't know. See, there's some of the skin. And digging and pulling, trying to eat the last of the bits of this carcass, which is almost finished. It's only taken them, it's been here for a week now. I can't believe it. They ate that whole elephant, the whole thing, in literally a number basically gone. Can you believe it? That was crazy. Now, it's been very, very exciting, of course, out on the safari. I think all of you from the school have been watching. You're lucky to have seen different. I hope you understand how lucky you are to see one of the most elusive cats in the bush. And then, now my snorkeling gear and dive live will be starting. It might be running a little bit late though, so on the Dive Live Facebook page, if you want to enjoy a safari underneath the, which I think is pretty. So you can also ask Quinn and foundation of Dive Live. Have a look at the Kickstarter we've got going. It'll be great if you can join us at the get-go. But what an incredible afternoon, filled with all sorts of animals, little hippos. We were very, very lucky.
Now, unfortunately, it sounds like Taylor's having a few issues with some technical problems, and so you're with me for the remainder of this evening, which hopefully is not a bad thing, and hopefully you all are okay with that. Now, it is that time of the day where we're going to start heading home, but the Wild Earth team is not done for the day. We are going to be bringing you our first ever dive that is going to be live on Dive Live. So there we go, it's a bit of a mouthful, but remember that you can go onto the Facebook page and you'll be able to watch it live right there, and you can then join in all the action on the Kickstarter campaign and follow it from the very beginning. So it's super exciting. We're all going to be watching from here in South Africa, so I hope all of you will be there, and we hope to see you all there. But it is time for us to head back and to try and go and quickly catch up on what's going on there. So it's been an absolutely epic afternoon from, well, Steve and Taylor's perspective. From mine and Vildy's, not so much, but it's okay. Tomorrow is another day and we'll be able to find something. So from Steve and Taylor, all the cam ops, Nikki and FC and myself, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to see you all tomorrow morning on the Sunrise Safari.